Welcome to everyone to session number 2 of our workshop. And it's called Introduction to GPT-4 for YWAMers. And we want to really keep it focused for YWAMers and make it relevant for YWAMers. Just a quick, brief summary of what we've done on Tuesday. Now I've get rid of this thing here. Okay, there we go. So on Tuesday, we learned how ChatGPT 3.5 can assist with daily tasks. We explored how to craft effective prompts, and we did some real practical exercises there. We mentioned GPT's limits and briefly explored similar tools like the Microsoft Copilot and Google Bard. And then we also emphasized the need to communicate with integrity and use it responsibly. It also became clear that ChatGPT 3.5 is quite limited, and the paid version, GPT Plus or GPT-4, might be worth to be explored. So Allan contributed quite a bit, and myself, you could see we really struggled to stick to 3.5 information because we don't use it anymore. We both probably started out with 3.5 and were excited initially, but then we soon discovered the limits. But I was never sure, is it really worth paying the $20? And it wasn't until I met someone at a hockey tournament of my kids. I sat next to a guy I've never met before. He was actually from the opposing team, from a different school. And we started chatting, and he said he's an IT guy, software developer. And so I started picking his brain on GPT. It was very fresh at that time. It was about a year ago. And he started just, praising it and saying, wow, it saves him so much time with programming, and he uses it for so many different things, and it's exciting, and so on and so on. And I said, yeah, but I find it's quite limited. It keeps forgetting what I'm teaching it, and so on. And he says, oh, so you're using the free version? No, you must go for the paid version. It's so worth it. It's such a huge difference, and so many more opportunities. And that was a year ago. Now, a year later, it's even a bigger difference. There's even I mean, you can't compare the two. 3.5 is, I don't know, it's like the fax machine. We were talking about that earlier. 3.5 is like a fax machine versus Zoom, right? It's not even email, it's Zoom. And that's the comparison. So the 3.5 would be the fax machine, and the GPT Plus would be Zoom as a comparison. And so we're going to look into it a little bit. I am not being paid by GPT to get you on an enrollment. I'm not getting any commissions. I'm just a fan at the moment of GPT Plus because I'm using it in my daily life. It's become my PA. But I'm not live committed to GPT. I believe that Google will make huge jumps in the next few months, and so will Microsoft, which already is anyway working closely with OpenAI, and there will be other tools developing. So it's very likely that one day I might be moving away from GPT to another machine, like we all did. We started off when the internet came. We started off with different search engines, and now we all, or many of us, use Google, right? And Google wasn't even around when the internet started. And that might be similar to what's happening with the AI. There's tools available now that are great, but in a few years down the line, it might be different. And so when I'm doing GPT today, it's because that's what I know and that's what I can talk on. But there's many, many other good tools out there, also paid tools and free tools. And as I said on Tuesday, GPT 3.5 is a great way to start. But if you don't want to go paid and you do want to have more functionalities and options, you might want to start with Copilot, with Microsoft's former Bing chat. They call it Copilot now, and that might be the better option for you to start if you don't want to do a paid version. But today it's all about the paid version. How do you get GPT Plus? I'm going to quickly change screen here. Can you see the GPT 3.5 window? All right. So if you are on the free version, you'll have down here a statement that says upgrade plan. And you click on that one, and it'll give you 3 options. The alternative is you click up here, 3.5, and then it gives you the option to upgrade to Plus. Same window pops up. The free version is $0 per month. The Plus is $20 per month. You can upgrade here, enter your credit card details, and you'll be launched. And then there's a new thing that came up last month, Team, which is $25 per month per person. But that's if you do the annual subscription. You can do a monthly subscription, then it will be $30 per month per person. I did try this one out to see how it works. So I'm currently on that, but what is a little bit misleading, maybe for you guys, Also to just be aware of that. If you go and upgrade to team, so I was already on a plus subscription privately, and then it gave me the option to upgrade to team. And I assumed an upgrade means it replaces my personal account and upgrades it to a team account, which then I had to have at least 2, because otherwise you're not a team. So I had to pay for 2 subscriptions, my own and someone else's, which in our case I did for our base, for our booster. And then, but then it actually doesn't replace money, it added it. So currently I'm paying for 3 subscriptions, which is not very cool. So yeah, so you need to know that if you go to team, you need to be at least 2 people, and you need to cancel your private subscription, but cancel it only afterwards, because what you can do is whatever you already programmed in your private subscription, you can actually transfer it over to team. So all your GPTs and chats and stuff, you can actually immigrate it over or emigrate, is that the word, over to team. But it's a once-off thing. Apparently, you can't emigrate it back to anything else later. So it is a once-off thing. So you just need to weigh it up if you want to go that route. And the other thing is it will charge the fees of team. It will charge it from one credit card. So if you are a team, you will have to sort out how you want to do the payment, but it will be charged from one account. They don't do like, 10 people have their own credit card registered. No, it will be one account, and they will have to pay you if you want to make them pay. Or if you're an organization, of course, then the organization pays for all the different. And you can add as many members as you want. There's a bit more functionalities. And what is nice with team, as opposed to the plus version, the team data excluded from training by default. So the data you generate in team, it's not being used for training of the AI, which is happening in the plus version. All right, that's just a little brief explanation. So if you subscribe, then you get to your plus version. But maybe before I jump ahead, any questions on that? No questions. So we'll continue. So if you go upgrade plus, then you will end up having an interface like this, where it then says ChatGPT 4, and then you can even swap back to 3.5 if you want to do that. And then you have different plugins, and you have the GPTs, which I will explain a little bit later. All right. Then let's first look at why you should go for GPT, or why you would want to. I mean, nobody should, but why I want to be on ChatGPT 4. These are some of the reasons. And again, I'm not being paid by OpenAI for this. It's not an advertisement movie. It's just an information workshop. And all these responses are actually generated by GPT-4 itself, which is the expert on itself, right? So the first point is it has better understanding. So the GPT-4 learns from a broader range of information, and it gets what you mean much better and remembers previous chats longer. That was one of my frustrations with 3.5. I trained the chat, I gave it information, but after a while, it started forgetting what I told it in the beginning. GPT-4 doesn't forget that quickly. I don't know what the limit is. I haven't found it, but it's I haven't reached that limit yet, even with my old chat. So it actually remembers quite long. And then it provides clearer responses. It talks back in a way that makes more sense, especially when you're having longer conversations. GPT 3.5 is limited in its understanding, and GPT-4 can understand longer conversations better, and therefore also respond better and clearer. You can have smarter conversation. It's better at keeping track of what was said before, making chats feel more natural and less repetitive. And then it's a quick learner. It picks up new writing styles and tasks quickly, needing less help to get things right. So if you keep using the same chat, you have to be in the same chat. You can't start a chat again and it will learn from that chat. Whatever happens in that one chat history, that's where it learns, and it learns fast. So if you say, no, change the style to this or change the wordings to that, it will remember that for future responses, and it will generate them accordingly. Then it is very good with many languages. GPT 3.5 can do languages, but 4 can do more, and it's more advanced in languages. I've even tried Swiss German, which is not an official language. It's officially a dialect of German, but it's so different that it should actually qualify as a different language. If you know Lauren Cunningham's vision of the oral mother tongue, we as Swiss, we can relate to that, because we don't feel that comfortable in the German language. We feel comfortable in Swiss German. And so I've tried that with GPT-4, and it can actually understand me. without any difficulty. This understands my Swiss German. It doesn't speak back Swiss German. It speaks back in High German or English, whatever I choose, but it can't do Swiss German yet, but it will be, I'm sure. I've already saw Copilot can actually speak back in Swiss German, not without an accent, but it's quite good. It's actually quite good. It sounds like a foreigner that speaks Swiss German, but it's very, very good. Like if a foreigner would speak Swiss German like that, you would go like, wow, you're really very fluent. And that's what Copilot can do, which is built on GPT-4, but GPT-4 can't do it yet. So it's quite interesting. I don't know. Microsoft probably put some other technology in as well. But GPT-4 will be able to do that. So for language, I'm just using that example that, you know, if we talk YWAM, oral mother tongue, and oral Bible translations, I think those AI tools will be able to help us speed the process up in the future, and we might make huge progress when it comes to that. Then ready for complex tasks, GPT-4 is better for tricky jobs like writing legal papers or technical guides, and it can be a smarter helper for a variety of work. So what I've also done already is I've had to draft a letter that legally is solid, and I also had to draft a constitution for a new entity we did recently. And for both of that, I used GPT-4, and I gave it strict parameters saying, according to South African law, draft me this letter, that it's legally sound, but that it's readable for the normal person, you know, and it did a very, very good job. And for the constitution as well, I said, you know, I need to draft a constitution according to Swiss law for this type of entity, and this needs to be included. These are the pointers. We just don't just want the standard constitution, but these are the pointers we want to have in there, and it needs to be compliant with Swiss law and tax deductibility. Draft me constitution, and it was really, really doing a great job. And I just had to do a few small adjustments, and then we went and we submitted and registered. So this is very helpful because you can contextualize it, and yeah, which is more difficult with 3.5 because it's only trained until I think, what was it, February 2022 or January 2022, something like that. All right, then GPT-4 versus GPT 3.5. I mean, that's what we're doing all the time. So I think that pointer could have been named differently. GPT-4 does everything GPT 3.5 does, but better, making it a stronger ally for YWAMers' diverse needs. So you can see this was all generated by GPT-4, but it was done in my PA's chat. So it already adjusted to YWAM, right? It already directs why would YWAMers want to do it, because it's a stronger ally for YWAMers' diverse needs. Then DALL-E integration, and Allan will talk a little bit more on that. I've used it quite a bit too, but it seems like Allan really knows well to use that one. GPT-4 can interface with DALL-E, an AI system that creates images from textual descriptions. So you feed it text and it will create you an image. It's like having your personal fine artists in front of you and say, I want to draw an apple with a bite mark in it, needs to sit on a mountain top, and a dog is looking at it, you know, something like that, and it will actually do a good job drawing your picture or creating your picture. It's maybe not drawn, but it's created. And yeah, so this integration allows for innovative applications like creating custom illustrations for teaching materials or social media content. And I'm using that a lot. I mean, all the pictures that you see in my presentation, they are actually created by DALL-E. At least in today's presentation. In Tuesday's presentation, I had some other pictures in there as well, but I did have some DALL-E pictures as well. And in coding and programming custom GPTs, GPT-4 has enhanced capabilities in understanding and generating code, making it useful for those interested in customizing AI tools or developing simple scripts and programs. So if you're not a programmer, but you have basic understanding of coding, which I think is a requirement, there is people that have used GPT-4 without any knowledge of coding, but they had to do a little bit of a loop, or you know, like just learn a little bit about coding through GPT. So it is possible for those who have no idea on coding, but if you have at least basic understanding of coding, you can use GPT to code your programs and help you with web page coding and so on and so on. So that's a really helpful tool. And then you can program your own custom GPTs as well, which you don't need any coding knowledge, which we'll look into today as well. Then it has internet access, which GPT 3.5 doesn't have, but GPT-4 can access. a limited selection of the internet. So that one was new to me. I thought it can access the whole internet, but it seems like there's still some limits. And I assume those limits are when it comes to illegal content and to unethical content and so on. So it does probably filter a little bit, because the whole AI industry is also being aware that they have to put some ethics into place, or otherwise they might be declared illegal in certain countries. And so there's a limit on what it can access on the internet, but I don't think I have hit any of those limits yet for what I'm using it. So for me, it has general internet access, and that is a huge advantage, because then you have recent data that you can access. And then, okay, there's some remarks here in the chat. Let me see what that is from Mike. Or Mike, you can just mention it as well.
Yeah, there's some copyright filters. If you're using DALL-E 3 making images, if you want to create something from Lord of the Rings or something, you will not find, you'll get, you won't find Frodo.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, but maybe just on that, I did actually yesterday quickly do a try on give me an apple with a bite mark, and I assumed it will maybe do something that looks like Mac, the Mac logo, but it didn't at all. It just really did a simple apple, a proper apple with a bite mark. And I mean, that's a good sign, but I was just curious if it will, you know, allude to Mac, but it didn't. And I think that's also part of the filters that are put in place then. All right, then you can, that's a huge thing for me. You can upload documents. So GPT-4's ability to process uploaded documents can be a game changer for tasks like analyzing text, summarizing long documents, extracting and organizing information from various sources, or training GPTs. So you can train GPTs based on PDF documents. Like my personal PA, I uploaded my book, I uploaded my thesis, I uploaded some other texts that I've written in the past, just to teach it my writing style and my expressions, and also my values. Both in my books and in my thesis, a lot of my values are being communicated, and it learns my values, and therefore it responds accordingly to those values. So you can train it, and it keeps it, and it will be a really nice PA. What I did yesterday, I used one of my old chats that I've actually still created on the 3.5 originally, but then transferred into GPT-4, and I haven't used it for a while. So it couldn't access some of the internet yet, because you still had to have plugins at the time and so on. So I just copied in my PA. You can do that these days to take it, what do you call it, a program GPT. You take it into an existing chat, and from there on, you enable that chat to use also the trained GPT. And so yesterday, we had a board meeting for one of the entities I'm part of, and I'm the secretary there. So I had to come up with the minutes. So what we did, we had the board meeting over Zoom. I recorded the Zoom, and I added captions. So everything was transcribed that we were speaking, and it was quite accurate. And then I saved, obviously, the recording and the captions and downloaded them. And then I had a transcribed meeting, right? There was a transcription of my meeting. I converted that transcription into a PDF. I uploaded it into my chat that was all about that entity. So it had already my previous minutes in there. It had previous discussions, letters that were written, all in the context of that entity. And I uploaded the PDF, and I wrote a little prompt saying, we just had our board meeting of this entity today, 31st of January, 2024. Present were Peter, James, and John, and absent was Jesus, you know, or whatever. I mean, I just put the real names in there, of course. And then, or apologies, you know, Jesus and Holy Spirit. And then the next one was, these were the agenda pointers. And I just gave the headers of our agenda points so that the machine knows that's how I want it organized. And then I said, please write me a comprehensive minutes of that meeting based on the attached transcription. And that was it. It took me like less than a minute to write that prompt, uploading the document. And within seconds, I had comprehensive minutes. They were written in my language, in my tone, and they were very accurate. It was some stuff was generalized because it didn't matter to have all the discussion points in there. It was summarized, maybe that's a better word. And then figures, like when we talked about amounts and so on, they were accurately quoted, and it was in there. And so all the information we needed was there. I had to do 2 small changes. It took me like 2 minutes to do those changes. So I had those minutes created from the time I downloaded from the cloud until the minutes were sent out. It took me 10 minutes, which would have easily taken me an hour of work. And if I didn't have the AI help, right? And it might not have been as accurate because I would not have had the transcription of the meetings, right? I had to come up with my own notes and so on. Mike.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was at a meeting last week with Cisco, and their WebEx, which is the thing that Zoom was built from, they've built this into WebEx now, and it's going to be automatic in there that you can have minutes of your meetings, action points. You can train it that depending on who is in the meeting, the action points and bullet points that were, what is Bruno going to do? And it will give you a list for you, which is quite amazing.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I think more and more tools will be totally integrated in the existing tools we have now. And that's going to be really exciting. Yeah. But yeah, just to tell you, those minutes obviously only worked because I was using the GPT-4 bots, which were pre-trained. If I didn't have the pre-training, if I would have wanted to do it in Copilot, I could also have had quite good minutes, I guess. It would, I haven't tried it, but I guess it would have produced quite good minutes, but it would not have been personalized to the extent that these minutes were. So I would still have had to spend more time editing and adjusting and making sure it's the way I want to send it out, where now it literally took me 2 minutes of editing and then sending it out. And so what could have or should have taken me an hour now took me less than 10 minutes. And yeah, it just excited me. I had to share with everyone that walked past me how exciting this was. Even though, yeah, I'm doing it all the time, but I still get excited. All right. Then ongoing updates. OpenAI is constantly updating GPT Plus with new features. For example, accessing self-made GPTs in all chats. That's what I just shared earlier. That was a new feature just added last month, where you can go to an existing chat that was old and that was not capable maybe of even surfing the internet. You just put the sign @ and then a list comes up of your own personal GPTs, and then you just choose the one that you want to use. Like in my case, my personal assistant, and then you add that to the chat, and from there on, this old chat that was limited in certain things can now do what you've trained your GPT to do, and all the information of that old chat you can still use. All right, that might not have made much sense for those of you who never used it, but those of you who use GPT, you understand what I'm talking about, I guess. All right, let's see. Yeah, so and just another disclaimer again, because I can't emphasize that enough. Use all these tools responsibly, aligned with our YWAM values, especially in the YWAM context. So, and particularly, communicate with integrity, I think, is a big one. GPT can generate you a lot of great stuff, but it might not be truthful. And so you are the one using it. You, the one using it, are responsible to make sure that whatever you publish and use is actually communicated with integrity. And that's a big flag. I've run into that trap myself. I had a beautiful social media post that I wanted to post, and fortunately ran it past my wife quickly, and she says, well, it sounds great, but this one sentence, it's not totally true, is it? And I'm like, it's true, it sounds too good. Actually, it's based in truth, but it's no longer truth. So I had to take that sentence out. And so I think this is just a caution I want to put out there. Please do review everything that you read, that you generate through AI, reread it, correct it, and only publish or use it when you are sure that it is done with integrity. All right, and then let's look at some practical examples. But before we go to practical examples, just again want to offer space for questions or remarks. Anyone who would like to ask anything of the past few slides? All right, then let's continue. We'll do some practicals now. So this is the interface of Teams. You will see here in Team, you have DALL-E browsing and analysis limited to 100 messages per 3 hours. This in GPT Plus, which functions the same way other than this limit. In GPT Plus, this limit is 40 messages per 3 hours. So if you do more than 40 messages in 3 hours on DALL-E or GPT-4, it will block you from using that machine, and you will have to go back to 3.5 until the 3 hours are up, and then it will renew your threshold of 40 messages.
Well, actually, when I got over 40 images this morning, it kicked me out for an hour, only an hour.
Okay.
I don't know why. It just said, can't do any more. come back at 1 o'clock. So I did. Yeah. And away I went again.
How long were you working? Maybe you were working 2 hours on it already.
I lose track. I was just, I'll explain it if it's
Okay.
opportune. Really, I was creating image after image after image, and it was perfect. Everyone was nailed. But then it got to over 40 images, and that's when it kicked me out.
Yeah.
I actually didn't kick me, it just stopped me from using it. Yeah.
From using, yeah, if it stopped you from using
Yeah.
DALL-E, you could still have used GPT 3.5 for other things,
Probably,
but not for creating images. Yes. So with Teams, this is limited to 100 messages per person. So that's actually a nice feature. It gives you a little bit more capacity. But for what I demonstrate, the reason I'm doing Teams is because I could keep it as a clear chat, and we can now really practice. Otherwise, if I use my personal one, it will give you all my chat history, which is not meant for recordings. So I did create a little YWAM guide this morning. I just want to show you that one quickly before we go into programming ourselves. So the YWAM guide, I just let me show you actually quickly what I did. So you go to my GPTs, and you've got the YWAM guide, and then you can either delete it here, I think, yeah, delete the GPT, or go and edit. You go to edit, you see the configuration, and this is what it creates. So I went to create, and I said, this is what I want to do, and it leads you through creating a guide, and I'll run you through that just now. But then it creates this configuration. So you could configure it yourself without the help of the machine and just add those instructions and everything. But it created it for me. And what it created is, as a YWAM expert, I'm here to provide detailed information, insights, and guidance based on the content of YWAM.org. I'm particularly knowledgeable about help answer questions about DTS, mission trips, outreach opportunities, YWAM's core values, and how to get involved. My guidance will reflect YWAM's global mission, commitment, community living, emphasize, And then I added at the end again, because initially it didn't do a good job in giving me the results I wanted. So I just added again, find all info on YWAM.org. Just it's there, but I just re-emphasized it. And then it actually gave me better results. And then once you program the chatbot, you can actually even change those conversation starters and personalize them. But it just gives you a few ideas. Tell me about DTS, how can I join YWAM, and so on. Then save it. And it will save it. And then view GPT. And then you can, for example, say, what is value? So I don't even say YWAM value. I just say, what is value? Because now it knows it's all about YWAM. What is value number 18? Let's see if we can do that. Okay, that's wrong. Didn't work. It did do a good job just now. I don't know why it's not doing it. It gives us the wrong value. All right. So that's when I went to GPT. So it's a bummer, eh? But it is showing the reality. Sometimes it just makes up things if it is not entirely sure. And that's where we as humans still need to come and check. So I'll go and adjust it again. And I say,
put in it the URL for the page on values and core beliefs.
order
Not
value,
just
that's
not top of the directory. Oh, I can't remember what it is, but I used it the other day. All right. So go dig down. Or look, guys, if it ain't giving you the right stuff, you've got to dig down on your prompt and get more specific and more complete with what you say.
So we've got yeah, and then there's an about us somewhere.
Yeah. So there's a page on beliefs and values.
Yes,
In the documents there.
in a
In
document.
the documents,
So,
there's a page.
And there we go.
There,
So,
yeah. That one, the foundational values and beliefs.
yeah, so we're going to say, we're going to add this one here now, and then we're going to update it here. Confirm.
No, I would go further, mate. Seriously, go to the URL of the page. In that document thing, there was the first link there. See, foundational values and beliefs. Click on that link, please.
All right.
That one. That's the
one.
link. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do
Because
that
you
one.
listed under, yeah.
Fantastic. Let's do that and then update. So this is called iteration, right? So we're just iterating the prompt, we're changing it, updating it with view GPT. Now let's see if it does a better job. So we start a new chat here, YWAM guide, and we say, what is value 18 about? Okay, still didn't get it. All right. So now we would have to go back and reiterate and upload documents. So that would probably be helpful now to take the YWAM values document, upload it as a PDF, because it first goes to what you have uploaded and then only goes to the internet. So if you wanted to improve that YWAM guide, you would now just go and upload documents, and then it will learn from those documents, and then it will become much more accurate. I don't have those documents downloaded right now, so I'm not going to do that, but just giving you the hint. But let's again go back to first custom instructions. So there's two ways to program GPT-4. And actually this first one you can do in GPT 3.5 too. So you give it custom instructions, which is then applied over all the new chats. So it's like an overall programming of who the chatbot is working for. So if you go to custom instruction, you see this is empty. What would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? And once you click into here, it gives you some thought starters. Where are you based? What do you do for work? What are your hobbies and interests? What subjects can you talk about for hours? What are some goals you have? So let's make up some story. I am Apostle Peter, and I love to teach about the grace and love of God for the Gentiles, right? And how would you like ChatGPT to respond? I'd like you to use a friendly, competent tone with a hint of theology in it all the time. All right, so that's just a mock-up for us, but then you can save it. You can obviously give it much more details, right? You have 1,500 characters on each that you can fill. So give it as much details as you want about yourself and what do you want to use it for. Save it, and now each chat, even if you start a totally unprogrammed chat, not a YWAM guide one, just a blank chat, you can now, what do we want to say? Give me a 1 paragraph social media post on what?
Matthew 28.
No, let's not use Bible, because I want to demonstrate how it's hopefully going to use theology in it, even on a normal topic now. So say on bushfires in Worcester, South Africa, which we actually have at the moment. So let's see what it does. As the sun sets on the vibrant landscapes of Worcester, South Africa, our hearts and prayers are with those facing the devastating bushfires that threaten both human lives and the magnificent natural heritage of this region. In these challenging times, let us be reminded of the grace and resilience that human communities can exhibit in the face of adversity. The fires, while a testament to the fragility of our earthly home, also call upon us to unite in support, compassion, and action to aid those in need and to steward the creation entrusted to us with greater care and wisdom. May this trial bring us closer together, inspiring acts of kindness and renewed commitment to healing our world in a spirit of love and stewardship that transcends boundaries. All right, so can you hear a little bit of Peter in there that we programmed earlier? Yeah, it's there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the prayer is there, love and grace is there, a bit of theology. So it's there. So of course, if we would have given it more meat than what I've given, I just really did a very brief thing. If given it more, it would also have done it. So every chat now that you start will have a hint of Peter in there. So the more you personalize it to your own style, the more it will already automatically do that in each chat. But that's still a very big limit, and that's why we need to explore the GPT. So what you can do now here, say you want that social media post to be a bit more.
Bruno, just tell
Yes.
it to say it simpler.
Okay, yes.
Say regenerate simple, please.
Make it simpler and shorter. As Worcester, South Africa battles severe bushfires, our thoughts are with those affected. This moment reminds us of the power of community and the importance of supporting each other. Let's come together to help and protect our beautiful planet. Right. So you could play and do better jobs, but now what I want to show you is you can use plugins. I don't use them much anymore since the GPTs came up that you can program yourself. But there are plugins you could add now into a chat. And you go to the plugin store and then it gives you some here. You can choose plugins are, okay, it just tells you what plugins are, and then you go, okay. And then you can search. So plugins are special functions that you can add to a chat, and then it will perform better in that area. So let's say theology, maybe there's something. No, there's nothing. All right, Bible. What is a Bible plugin? Chat with Bible or just Bible? So we'll do Bible. We install that one quickly. I hope it's going quick. Nothing seems to happen. There we go. An error happens. Maybe because I clicked twice. No, there is an error, so it doesn't work, that specific one. So let's try the other one. That one seems to be installing. That's great. All right, then that's it. So that's now in this chat. Chat plugins now includes the Bible, and it's ticked. You can tick up to 3 plugins per chat. So you could add other plugins. You could, for example, add a plugin that does PDF analyzing and so on, or you know, there's different plugins. You add them, and now this chat will interact as you chatting with the Bible. So, hey Bible, tell me more about what Jesus meant when he spoke the words in Matthew 28, 20 and following. Let's see what it does. Okay, plug in with chat with Bible is unreachable. So that one obviously doesn't seem to work. I should have tried it up front. So anyway, I don't want to spend too much time with the plugins anyway. There's plugins for traveling, there's plugins for PDF, for coding, for whatever. I personally don't quite understand why they're still in use. Maybe because people got used to it, because now with the chat GPTs that you can program, I don't think you need the plugins particularly anymore, because there's a whole list of GPTs that are pre-programmed. So we could actually now go to Bible here. So these are now GPT chats that are pre-programmed. So let's see what we have here. So you even have a Bible translator from ancient Hebrew and Aramaic, Greek, and Latin into English. So that's nice. But let's just take a study Bible 2. So this is now a GPT, and we can add it, I think, to our keep in sidebar. So if you go here and you say keep in sidebar or hide from sidebar now, but keep in sidebar, then it will add it to your sidebar. So you will now, from now on, always have it accessible here, and you can go back to that one. All right, Mike, do you want to quickly share about the plugins?
Yeah, I was just making a comment that many of the plugins are community-based, so people are sharing their plugins, and the idea that they were having is to make a store, so you could, at some point, people might be able to sell their plugins to save you doing the work yourself.
Yeah, but I think they do that now with the GPTs, right? I think that's much more sophisticated. So now let's use that same prompt that we had just now. Where was that? Did I lose it? Okay, I lost that prompt because it didn't work properly. So we will go and start a chat with the Bible and say, what did Jesus mean when he spoke the words in Matthew 28, 20 and following? And then he gives us a little teaching there with the quoting of the scripture and so on and so on. So I can stop it here now, but just to demonstrate. So this is now really focused on Bible, and it will give you Bible-based teachings. So you could go to any of those GPTs. You can choose, you can type and search for any pre-programmed GPTs that people have put out there. DALL-E, of course, has also pre-programmed image creators, so you could go and have special pre-programmed chats that will help you create images, and so on and so on. Then you can have your own. So my GPTs.
I've got to say, if you really want to impress little people, like at my age, my grandchildren, use Color Me. It's a killer, right? That's a plug in the part of DALL-E, and I say to my little one, you know, what's your favorite animal? I say, oh, it's a kookaburra laughing kookaburra. So I say, draw me a laughing kookaburra, and out it comes, just like it was in a colouring in book, you know, outlined, and then print it out and hand it to him or her and say, there, go colour it in. And they get really, really inspired by this. Yeah, they picked it, they saw it created, and now they get colouring in book, custom colouring in book. That colour potential.
Yeah, no, that's cool, and it could even be used for teaching materials, right? I mean, you could even, you know, like for a specific teaching, you do some handouts, and you could actually have coloring in pictures there because people like to fiddle and stuff, or have other illustrations. So I think it's a brilliant remark that there's tools available, there's plugins, there's pre-programmed chats, or GPTs as they call them, that you can go and access. But let me quickly show you now how to program your own GPT. And then we're going to go into DALL-E for the last bit. So you have, maybe I should have just explained the steps, right? So you first go to Explore GPTs. That's what I've done. Then you go to My GPTs, or you can go directly and then create, or you can go directly to create up here. And then it gives you this interface, and there you have the option to configure, where you give it a name, a description, what it's all about, and then you give the instructions, and you upload documents and files, and you even define your own conversation starters. You define whether you want to do web browsing with it or not, whether you want to include DALL-E image generation or not, and coding or not. This is the standard. I usually leave it at the standard. And then you could even upload a logo for your, or a profile picture for your bot. But what is much easier than having to come up with all of this yourself, you actually have GPT help you. So it says, hi, I'll help you build a new GPT. You can say something like, make a creative who helps generate visuals for new products, or make a software engineer who helps format my code. What would you like to make? So I'm going to generate now a expert. You are an expert on YWAM booster, South Africa, always giving accurate information. But this could become an assistant when you are responding to WhatsApp messages or emails, and people ask several questions. You could feed it into this bot eventually, and it will give you the answers that you could just copy paste back to an email, for example. And it's going to take some time now, so it's generating a name first. It needs a bit of patience, but the time you will be saving in the future is worth waiting. How about we name this GPT YWAM Booster Guide? Do you like this name? Then you say yes or no. You can change it, but for the sake of time, we'll just accept it. Now it will create a icon or a profile picture. And that's just generating it out of its own ideas. And again, that one will just accept it, whatever it is. You could upload one from your own pictures, or you could talk to it back and forth and create a more adjusted picture like you want it to be. But for now, we just use that one. That's what it came up with. At least it's realizing it's about people and about the globe, right? World missions. So it's all there. Great, thanks. And then let's see what it asks me next. Now let's refine some details to start. Can you tell me more about what specific topics or questions you expect users to ask about YWAM Booster? This will help ensure that GPT provides the most relevant and helpful information. Questions like, when does your next DTS start and how much does it cost? what is the cost in US dollar equivalent? I don't know, it's probably not correct, but you will understand what I mean. And what other questions? Where is Worcester? What do I have to bring as a student, etc. Use YWAMworcester.com for up-to-date information. So I'll just feed it that one too, because I want to make sure it's not going anywhere in the web to find answers, but find it at the proper source. So then it will take me through a few more steps, as many steps as I wanted to go. I can anytime say, okay, that's enough, let's try it. You can actually play with it. It's a preview, so you can go and just try a few things. So it says I've updated the details to focus on providing specific information about YWAMers, such as DTS, start dates, costs, and so on. Would you like to adjust how the GPT communicates this information, perhaps in terms of tone or level of detail? So let's just say friendly tone, youthful, but not street language. Or sometimes it goes overboard if you say youthful. Competent. All right, that's the word, the style I want to use. So let's see what it does once it's updated. I'm typing the first prompt. That's just a preview. It's not online yet. So I'll say, when does your next DTS start? So our next DTS starts actually on the 2nd of February, tomorrow. So let's see if it gets that already. Yeah. The next DTS at YWAMers is scheduled to start on 2nd February and will run until 21st of June. And you see it already uses our format, which we use in South Africa for dates, because it takes it from our webpage, right? If it would take it from a US webpage, it would most likely use the US format. And then this program offers a unique opportunity for personal and spiritual growth, coupled with practical learning and community living. If you're interested in joining or learning more about the DTS program, including its structures, curriculum, and outreach phases, I recommend visiting the Worcester official website or contacting their admissions. So now that's an interesting one. So now as I'm playing with it, I see I don't want them to just go to the website and have to find the admission. So I can go and say, in the configuration, I just go and add now here and say, when people want more information, direct them to our contact page. If they want to apply, send them to the apply page. There you go. And then save. And you can actually define, okay, it's gone now. I'll show you later. I can just say, you can define whether that GPT shall be public, available for everyone that is on GPT-4 Plus, or if it should be available within your team, if you are part of a team, like in this case, or if it's anyone who has the link to the GPT can use it. So you can share the link with, with people of our YWAMers, and they can use it, or you can say, no, it must be private, only I can use it, nobody else. So you can give it different privacy settings. So let's see. When is the next DTS starting? So now it's live. Now it's no longer just a preview. Now it's actually a live bot. Okay, now it's taking me to the May one, which is the actual date for the next one after the one that starts tomorrow. And it gives me some more information. Well, let's see. Is there no DTS starting in Feb? Yeah, so there we go. Now it gives it, we have the default DTS and the two-module DTS starting in February. And it gives me the links to it now. It's generating it, leading them directly to that page, which is great. How much is it? Should be able to find that too, the pricing. So it gives us the different zones. Pricing, so if I say I am Swiss, what will be my price in Swiss francs? Let's see what it does. Okay, still generating that. Well, I could stop it generating, but let me just allow it to finish. There you go. So it's converting now from South African rand to Swiss francs, and it chooses the right zone number 3, which is for North America, Europe, and Oceania. So it gives me a price. 33,000 rand is 1,540 Swiss francs. So it's a very nice tool to have. So if you are answering emails and stuff, and you have a bot like that, your answering emails will just become so much easier. And the tone it uses is also quite youthful, competent, and not street language, right? So even there, you can play and you can adjust it. You can upload documents if you want to. But with the little programming I've just done within 5 minutes, this is already a fairly good result. And then, of course, you can always tweak it and adjust it and make it better, right? So let's see if it actually took my other iteration. How do I apply? If it leads me to the right place. And it gives me the link. So it tells me how to get there, but it also gives me the link directly there, as I instructed it to. All right. Any questions so far on this? How to create your own GPT or how to use it? Are we good? All right. Then again, now you have them up here in the sidebar. You can always kick it out, hide from sidebar, and it's gone. If you want to find it again, you click on Explore GPTs. You go to My GPTs. And then they are the two that we've programmed so far, the YWAM guide and the YWAMer guide, right? And then you can, so this one we took off, you can put it back, you can edit it. But then, let's see. Let's go back.
Excuse me.
You can put it back into the, but I think you have to click on it. That's how it goes. So YWAM guide, you click on it, and then up here you say, keep it in sidebar, and then it will add it here again, and it's back here. Right. So that's how you can organize it a bit. If you want to go back to a conversation that you've already had, you can just click on that one, and you just continue the conversation from where you left it last week, for example, right? You can.
Practical questions. Does anybody know whether we can search our chat history for something specific? I haven't worked out how to do that.
No, I haven't worked that out either. I don't think it's capable yet. I do think
that's really on top of my short list. Where I've done something specific, and be blowed if I can find it. It's in the middle of a long, progressive thing.
And that's exactly why I recommend everyone go here to the 3 points and rename your chats to something that you can find easily again. It still will be, you still have a long chat list. It's still scrolling and seeking, but if you give it a good name, it's more easy to find it again. Yeah. But it should have a search function. I agree with you. It should have that. And it doesn't. Yeah. And I think it should even have folders that you can create and put it into folders. It should be more organizable. And that was not on their, it's probably not on top of their priority list at the moment. They just want to add new features, but I think eventually those things need to come. Yes. All right. So I think if there is no questions about how to create GPTs, I'd like Allan to share a little bit about the 40, 50 pictures he created this morning, because he sent me a list of those and they're really amazing. And just a little bit on DALL-E.
Yeah, can you put it on the screen, the document?
I can put it on the screen. I have it here. There we go.
Make them bigger. Anyway, yeah. What this is, that my wife is on a TESOL course at YWAM Perth, and she's going to teach ESL on Friday, and this is a practical assignment for them to pick a relationship, and the students to pick a relationship and then talk about their father, their mother, etc. So we wanted multi-generational. So I ended up asking for a Asian father, an African father, a Middle Eastern father, and white fella father. Australianism. Yeah, if you say Australian, they put flags in it. So what I had to do is do European, Caucasian. And so that's how that would work. When you see the illustrations themselves, large on a 4K screen. They're breathtaking. They're absolutely breathtaking. All right. Now, what I've been asking it for a long time, and how much it's learned from what I've asked, I'm not sure of. So, but with those, I was basically just saying, I want an African father, and it out come that there. What do you see? I want a Middle Eastern grandmother, and that one comes out. And they're all stylized the same and stunning. I then cut them up this afternoon and laminated them and made handout cards for the class tomorrow. So that's some hints. Each photograph's got an ID, and if you get a photograph, you're getting like. I haven't had a lot of success with this, although I've been told it works. I can ask it the ID, and up comes the number, and then you say, using ID number such and such, as a, it's just a blurb of numbers, change something. And you get a closer change, or it will go off on a wild track. It's a real suck it and see in this stuff, because it will generate suddenly something with a lot of color, and you have to say, come on, I don't want the color. Take the color back. So you're constantly, it's almost like you got your own airbrush illustrator in the days of my print, when I was running a print shop, and you just keep having this conversation till you get it right. But that's what that was about. Now, I'm just about to send you a chat message, Bruno, when I get my in the screen. All right. I just sent you a prompt.
Okay.
Now,
Let me go to the prompts. We
anything
started with
can
that.
happen, I can tell you, right? Anything can happen. So put the prompt into that, and when they see it on the screen, I'll explain a couple of things. Okay. And before you send it, don't send it yet. Okay. See, guys, photorealistic. I find that's important, because that gets us that style of illustration that looks like photographs. That's what I'm saying, asking it to do. What I generate in my chat session may be quite different, Bruno, from what you're going to get. Right? That's an interesting exercise in itself. So press the button and let's see what happens, please.
So what we need to remember also now, I've programmed all the chats here as Peter, Apostle Peter. So that might also actually affect the outcome of the image. We just need to remember that. It might not. Yeah. Okay, I'm in the Bible plugin. Sorry, that was wrong. No. New chat. Let me get out here somehow. Go back here. I think I must take that plugin out. That was the mistake. All right, so no plugins. Actually, I should be saying ChatGPT 4. That's the problem. All right, let's do it again. There you go. So you have to always make sure you're in GPT-4 if you want to do imagery, because that doesn't work on plugins unless it's one of those image plugins, and it doesn't work on GPT 3.5.
Excuse me.
There we go.
Well, that's interesting. You see, I've asked it. Okay, let's have a crack at this, guys. Remove the too many people. Reduce the number of people in the image. Take out the person in the suit. Make it more multicultural. For the first time ever, I've seen the Bible verse or Bible reference correct. Usually it's gobbledygook. That's interesting in itself, isn't it, Mike? And I'll explain some of that later. But sorry, I've got to. We try that.
All right, yeah. So the spelling is wrong if you look at it, Matthew. So it does struggle with those type of things at the moment. I think they will still improve them. Yeah.
I'll explain what I do about that in a minute. I want to see what it comes up with this other one. Sometimes it just doesn't take any notice of what you say. Better? Is that what we want? Do we want the Jesus-looking thing in the middle?
I don't think so.
All right, well, tell it what to do. You know, see, they're still using suited people, and you can have it. What's around the edges of it? Okay. Again, sometimes it gets it right in 3. Sometimes I've done 7 or 8 of them and given up. And no matter what I try on my prompting, I have trouble with it. But when it's right, boy, is it right. Now, concerning type on images, in education, there's a coined concept called app smashing, right? App smashing is where you take the output of one app and use it for the input of another app. In other words, you're creating a learning sequence. And this is what we've got to do a lot with this stuff. Now, you take and this is why Canva, which is a powerhouse, if you connect it with Canva, you can change the words in it. It's amazing. you can go grab the words and correct the spelling and get it right. Okay, so, and there's other things you can do with other apps like that. But I'm constantly jumping from one application or one piece of software to the other. I might use 4 different programs to get a result. Okay, so what's that say? That's not too bad, is it?
Yep.
Do they like it? Somebody either not thumbs up or thumbs down. What do you don't like it? Yeah. Okay. Well, again, you just keep trying, and it generates things very quickly. Now, for example, and I don't want to go too deep into this, but if you wanted it as what we call a background, remove the background as a transparent PNG, you can do that in, say, Keynote, for example. And there are other apps within your OSs that you can use, and you can highlight that square part of it and remove it, and it's just a round logo. I've done a lot of that too. So, again, there's no straightforward key to this except photorealistic, I think, is important. I think you just keep defining and refining your prompt.
Yeah.
And get it to learn it. With the ones I did today, they're very similar to many others I've done about training programs over the last 8 months. So that stuff, and they got it right on the first go. And after each prompt after that was simpler and simpler.
Yeah.
Hope that's helpful.
I think what is worth mentioning as well, you can actually also tell the bot the format you want it in. Like you can give it the measurements or the format. You can define everything. Must be round or square or rectangular, and how big and how small and so on.
The Hope training logo was done in DALL-E and then corrected in Canva. So I got Hope right and training right in Canva. It's a really nice logo, by the way. It looks much better when it's large. All right, so I hope that's been helpful, guys. Anybody got any comment?
Maybe I can add. We did the other day. I have the app on the phone as well, so you can have the GPT app on your phone. And then we were in a staff meeting, and we were praying, and someone had a sketch of a picture that they had quickly just scribbled it on a piece of paper with pencil. And then what we did is we actually took a photograph of the sketch. We uploaded it to DALL-E and asked it to create a picture from the sketch, and it was amazing what it created. So even that, you can give it an example of what you'd like to have, and then it will create, and then you can still iterate and change it. But it's just new tools that we never had before. I think Nam was unmuted before. Do you want to ask or comment?
My question would be, how much do we know about how these pictures are generated and the danger of plagiarism? I think just because I know that AI takes out from different resources, different things to create something new. But I would just be curious of like how much it takes from other pictures.
Yeah. Do you know anything on that, Allan?
Sorry, I got a coughing fit and I'm turning my mic off. No, I don't. I don't know where to start asking AI. It's a lot of it would have to do with attribution too. That's an academic thing where we give attribution to things. So I don't know. There must be people doing work on it. I'll go and have a look at that when I get some more time. But can't comment other than you're right. If you try to tell it to do a John Wayne picture, you won't get it to do it. Oh, and another thing happened this morning when I got to the grandchildren, and I said, "Draw me a grandson." an Asian grandson, had come up and said, this picture may be against our community standards or something, you know, because it was a child. It let me use it, but it said, well, give me an alert. So that's another issue.
Mm.
But again, I'd say,
I think
I'd just say I don't think there's enough. The fact that we don't really know where the inspiration comes from, I don't know. Somebody's going to complain about it, I guess, eventually. But I'm of the opinion that, you know, you can't use it for commercial purposes. That's really important, that you don't try to sell their images.
Yeah, I think that's what I was going to say as well. Use it with caution. I mean, it's a great tool to have for illustration purposes if you want to do PowerPoint and, you know, add value to your teaching and so on. I think it is a uniquely created picture, but it does take information from pre-existing material, right? Because it needs to be trained somewhere. So in that sense, it probably has a bit of plagiarism in there if there's no, you know, sources cited. But, you know, also you and me, if I was a good painter, I could see any picture and I could try to recreate it. It will never be exactly the same, but I might still, you know, so that's probably similar there. So I don't know where the law will, I mean, there will probably be laws created soon around that as well. And then we will know for sure. But at this stage, it's a bit of a gray area, most likely. And so I think just use it carefully and maybe just also make sure you quote the source yourself, saying this was generated by DALL-E. And then you don't use it for money making stuff, but just for illustration purposes.
When you're doing sorry, Mike. Yeah.
I was going to say it's an interesting issue. Somebody's actually gone to court in the UK about testing who owns a program that's created by AI. Is it when it's written by an AI, is it who actually is the creator of it? And trying to test this, because is it me because I did the first buttons, or is it the machine that owns it? And when you come to our images at the moment, if you look into images, if you go deep into a crowd scene, you'll find the realistic is getting less and less, and the hands and the feet can be rather interesting. But we always have to be careful with what we publish because of copyright issues and things. And the same with the text. Even the text that you create, if you put that up for your thesis or something like that, you may fail a plagiarism test because portions of that text will come from other places.
Yeah, that's good. We are almost up with our time. Just if there's any more questions or remarks, Mike, maybe just give us a quick information about that last one. Canva can be free for YWAM locations. Yeah,
Canva is free for non-profits. You have to apply for it. You might have to send some thing into them, but if we've succeeded in a few places to get a free license for Canva, so give it a try. Yeah, so you basically just apply as an NPO and then see if they give you a free. Okay. Yeah. Oh, no. There's something, if I remember right, there's something on there about Canva for non-profits and education, and it works. All right. Thank you very much for that information. If there's nothing else anymore, thank you so much for your participation. I hope it was helpful. I hope you will, you know, make use of the tools and succeed. And if you find out something really exciting, let me know. I also want to learn more. I'm also just learning this tool. So let's keep the communication up. Have a wonderful day further, or evening or night, wherever you are, and be blessed. Bye-bye, guys.